Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Steve Ramona. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramona. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness. Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal and every decision, every day to make a powerful impact on others. Today's guest is going to light you up. You'll be motivated, you'll be challenged, and most importantly, you're going to walk away with tools that inspire action both in your life and the lives of others. Audience, here's your homework. How will you serve yourself and others today? Doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game. So lean in, take notes. Shout out to my two sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, and it deserves to perform like one. Want to think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer? Just text the word optimize to 72000. Optimize to 72000 and get instant access to 6 short, powerful videos, each just 3 to 5 minutes, that reveals simple strategies to unlock peak mental performance. Because when your brain is clear, your business grows. And Epic Impact, the storytelling system that helps your message connect and convert, it's just 4 steps. Engage, persuade, inspire, close with clarity. I use it every day for all my messages. Try it free at epicimpact.ai with code STEVE. Change your messages, change your results. Excited to announce Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast was named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you all of you, my guest and my audience. You've impacted so many people. Let's continue doing that. Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Fired up today. This has been a friend of mine I met way back in the day. She actually used to live close to me, and I don't think she does anymore, but we really connected. She believes in this connection and just uplifting and bringing value to people, which we all should be doing. That's what a servant heart does. That's what we like to talk about here. So let's bring her on. Summer, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you today, Steve. We always have such a great time together.
Oh, we do. Again, we talked before the show probably longer than we should, but that's what happens when we get together every so often. Let me ask you, servant heart, what does that mean to you?
There's so many things in regards to that question that I can describe, I can explain in relation to what we do with a servant's heart and how we do it, right? And so it's always been something in my DNA, I think, to give back to community. And I've been doing it since I was young. I did it when I was in college. I was part of a sorority and we hosted philanthropic events where we were giving back to the community. I do that now as a podcaster. I do not charge for my podcast. I do not, really, I don't make a whole lot of money at all on that podcast. I invite people to the podcast, women in particular, who want a platform to speak on. And it was my way of giving back to community. I've been doing it for almost 8 years now. And I have met so many incredible women. It has also given them more exposure as to what they're doing today, whether it is working for somebody or working for themselves or how they're giving back to community. And that really creates momentum in regards to how we're invested in each other as a community, how we have that sense of connection. So.
And I love it's been 8 years because most podcasters quit after a short period of time, which is unfortunate. You've been successful doing that. So with the podcast, your connections, your network, you've built that through many different ways. How did you build this massive network?
I actually built that through just connection, word of mouth. So that's how it started. It really started with, okay, I'm going to start a business. But before that, let me just take a couple of steps back. So I had your very traditional, kind of path in regards to what my future was going to look like. And that vision, it's not that it changed, but because life changes, it the path changed, right? It's not my values didn't change, but the path changed. The way that I approach things changed. So I was raised by a single mom, as you said, close to where you live in Santa Cruz, California. As I began to think about graduating from high school, I thought about college. And that was, most of my friends were going to college. I thought about college. How was I going to get there? I had a single mom. What was I going to do? How was I going to get in? How was I going to pay for all that? Right. I'd been working since I was 15 years old. And so I started applying. I went to my career counselor and she's like, just apply, 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 apply for loans, apply for grants, apply for what you can. Right. And so I started applying and I got accepted to all the colleges except one. And so I was like, okay. And then I went to my grandfather, who was this incredible entrepreneur. And he was like, of course, Summer, because I thought, well, I can go to UC Santa Barbara and maybe go to UC Berkeley because I got accepted to them both. And he's like, Berkeley, they're both great schools, but Berkeley on a resume, that's going to look great. So I was just like, okay, all right. So the small town beach girl heads to Berkeley, get there, and I'm lost, totally lost. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not floundering, but I'm lost. Now you got to understand that was 30,000 people on that campus. That was the same size as my city, the same size as my city. And I was
Overwhelming.
like,
Yeah.
say again, Steve?
Overwhelming.
Very. So I'm standing there on that campus going, okay, how do I create a sense of connection, a sense of belonging? Where do I belong here? Like, how do I fit in? Right. And so I start joining all these groups, or I start testing out all these groups. So I go to, the sorority route. But before I go there, I went to, what is the military group? It's called,
Uh,
say again.
the reserves.
No, it wasn't the reserves. It's where you go through this program and it's like part of the military, and then you can join the military, but you have to go through all these classes and you got to do these summer things. Well, anyway, I tried that and I was like, no, that's not for me either. I don't think I'm into shining boots and doing all that stuff. And I was a very active girl and I was running all over the place. I was taking, you know, I think it was 18 units a semester, working 30 hours a week. And I ended up joining a sorority and I ended up becoming president of that sorority. So we did philanthropic things, leadership things. We did mentorship. We did a lot of different things within that sorority. So when, I hear people going, oh, sororities, elitist groups, we do a lot. We do a lot to help support community. And I was so thankful that I learned some leadership skills there as well in regards to being a president or taking on a certain office. And I did that in high school too. I was, junior representative, during my high school years. I did different groups. And so, you know, throughout my life, leadership was always something I really valued, but I was never that kind of person who liked to be in front of people. I never liked to be that keynote speaker or be on a stage. I wanted to be the person on the back end doing things and making things happen, right?
Yep.
So after college, I ended up graduating and going back home. And I thought to myself, well, what am I going to do? So I ended up going to law school for a short time. I got accepted to Quinnipiac University and I went there and I drove across country and I stayed in Connecticut and I decided, well, after a short time there, I'm like, this is not really how I want to serve people. This is not really me. For some reason, I knew right away and I was just like, no, this is not going to work for me. And I ended up going home and being kind of lost and going, now what? I just graduated from this great school. I should have a great job. And that's not how it that's not how it happens. So, I ended up my high school sweetheart and I, after 7 years of dating, we ended up getting married. And so he joined the Marine Corps. So for 21 years, the next 21 years, He was in the Marine Corps, and I followed his path basically. But during that, I knew I still had goals. Like, I had my own goals. I was a very independent woman. So I ended up going and getting a master's degree in human services with a specialty in counseling and working in nonprofit in San Diego. And when I did that, I ended up learning about leadership, program development, doing county-wide programs, putting those together, bringing people to the table, like the community members, teachers,
Mm.
schools, mayors, bringing all those folks to the table to get these programs off the ground. Because we started with seed money and we needed refunding. So to be able to do that, we needed to prove that we were being successful by the numbers and by the changes that we were making. And so, how we look at analytics today, we were doing the same things in a different way back then, right? To prove that our programs were working to get refunding. So I started there, and I was really appreciative because I had great mentors. And this is my point. Throughout my journey, the mentorship I received was amazing. And with that particular job, I had mentors that were phenomenal. So I had a clinical mentor who helped me with the counseling component. And then I had a social work mentor who helped me with program development. And so with that, I was off. I was off and running. And so even though I didn't get paid much with a master's degree, I got paid around $10 an hour back then. That's it. But the way that I looked at it at the time was that was essential experience I needed to get where I am today. And I went through a lot of different phases, like working for hospitals in a clinical setting, assessing people. That gave me experience about becoming a expert in assessment. And so when I do intakes or when I do assessments with my clients today, I know what I'm looking for. I know it right away. And so I know what their needs are because they tell me because I'm asking the right questions, right? Or
Yep.
they're telling me or giving me information that I need to know, which prompts me to ask the next question. So that's what helps me in regards to program development, in regards to mentorship, mentoring folks, mentoring young folks, mentoring adults, and also, being a consultant and seeing what the needs are and where the gaps are for businesses and for solopreneurs.
Huge. Lots you've done there and lots you're
Yeah.
doing. That spurred and launched your two new programs you're going to talk about today, your mentorship program and your VA program. How'd they come about and what are you doing with those?
Well, as I keep hearing, tap into your skill sets, tap into the things that you're really
Mhm.
passionate about, that you do well, right? And I thought to myself, well, there's a need here. There's a need for a mentorship program like we haven't seen before. Because right now we have five five generations in the workforce, five different generations, right, from traditionalists all the way to Gen Z's, and soon to be six generations, right? And so when I started thinking about that, I thought, well, how's this affecting the mission of a company? How are they getting things done? How are they staying connected? How are their employees staying connected? How are they communicating? What does the retention for a company look like? What are they doing to create a sense of belonging within their milieu, their employee yeah, with their employees. So I thought to myself, how do I put that together where I can offer this to a program or to a company where they have a better working understanding of why mentorship is so important and why it needs to change. It can't be your traditional mentorship program where I'm the older person, I've got all the wisdom, and you're going to listen to me. That's not the way it goes. Although I do have to say, I had mentors that were phenomenal and they mentored me, and hopefully they learned some things from me. But this is different, Steve. This is different. And I wanted it to look different because I wanted to bring a little psychology into it. I wanted to bring a different perspective into it that really created things like, how are we going to bridge those communication gaps? How are we going to retain those employees? How are we going to also help those employees stay connected or have a sense of belonging, especially with all of the different social factors that have that have that have impacted are young folks in the last 5 to 6, 7 years, right? With COVID being one of them, quite frankly. And with that impact, unfortunately, a lot of these young folks were being schooled at home, whether that was high school, junior high, college, and they were missing opportunities. They were missing opportunities in relation to communication, person to person communication, feeling connected, feeling like they belong somewhere, and above all, learning systems. So we don't realize that we learn a systems approach when we go to school because you have to be there at a certain time. Your teacher sees that you're there for attendance, you get a grade for attendance, you have to do homework, you have to show up with that homework, you have to show up with your books. That's all part of that system, right? And when you're away from that or haven't had experience for that, what's your model?
Mm, yeah.
What's your model? One. Number two, who do you go to ask questions to related to that system? So what I noticed in many articles was that young people were getting hired quick, but they were getting fired quickly. And I thought to myself, why is that? Because they don't understand a system, they don't have a sense of belonging. So retention was nothing. I mean, you weren't retaining your employees because there were all these gaps. But who was mentoring these young folks?
Mm,
Who was, and so not only that, were they getting an opportunity to cross mentor? So the reason I say that is because when you get that opportunity, that creates that sense of belonging. That creates that sense of they are interested in my knowledge and who I am, which also, again, creates that sense of connectedness, right?
right.
And so some of the psychology that is put into here is Adler's psychology of belonging. And I'm an Adlerian from way back, when I first started studying psychology. I have a doctorate degree in clinical psych. So I put this into practice for years and years and years because people want to belong, whether it's at school, whether it's at work, whether it's in their family, right? They have this sense of, I want to belong to something. Otherwise, they're going to feel isolated, alone. Yes, some people might say, well, I'm kind of a loner. Well, what does that mean? Do you hang out with other loners? Do you?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
also think that there is a little bit of that sense of belonging. So, anyway, with this program that I help companies build, I help them with first going in and not telling them what they need, but doing an assessment of what are your needs? What are your needs? Where are the gaps? And then we help them incorporate this cross generational mentorship program called Core Mentorship Solutions. And then from there, based on that assessment, we also look at what are their leadership needs. And based on those gaps, we bring in leadership trainers. So that's what that program is all about. So that's Core Mentorship Solutions. And also, we take out the word mentee in this program because everybody can be a mentor. So it also helps lower the ego involved
Yeah.
so that and that's part of the training that we take these companies through is that it's okay for you to have some kind of hierarchical setup within your company. But with this particular program, let's take ego out of it. So we have that cross generational mentorship. So people are innovating better together, collaborating better together, and they're listening to each other and their ideas. So guess what? You're meeting your mission better.
Mhm.
You're filling those gaps that you had before. So you're actually utilizing these folks and creating that sense of community and belonging, where guess what? That's going to help with retention.
Yeah. And COVID taught us a lot about belonging and isolation. And
Yes.
kids, and you said the homeschooling, kids didn't get to see other kids and peers
Right.
and things like that. And it's not taught in school, business
No.
and life that you're talking about.
Right.
Really it's going to school is to get that piece of paper. You can walk into a job and go, like you said, hey, I'm a Cal graduate. I should be able to get a job anyway. And you didn't because
Yeah.
10,000 other kids are doing the same thing.
Yeah. And I think it was more like, for me, because I'm a high achiever. And here's the thing, Steve, I never believed that it was all my smarts, right? It was my ability to go, to be driven, right? And it's that balance that I brought into the picture. So if I went into a job interview, I knew that was my interview. And what I mean by that is that it's an opportunity to start opening a conversation. It's a opportunity to start asking questions. They can ask me questions. And I knew when I left that room, I was going to get a call
Yeah,
just because of the
it's
relationship I immediately built with those folks. And
draw.
that's what we need more of in business, right? In our businesses is creating that community and that connection where we're doing that as coworkers, as peers.
Working together, and
Yeah.
people that go get a job or get a degree. I was just going to say a great thought. Get a degree, smart to driven. You could be taught to be driven. I mean, not everybody's taught to be driven, excuse me,
Right.
like me and you are. And that's okay. That's your
Yeah.
8 to 5 at Apple. And that's fine because we need people to doing that. But to be smart, if you're not smart, you can always get smarter. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing, my dad was tough, tough. And there's a lot of things that I didn't approve of in regards to him bringing us up. However, I will say, whenever I was on that soccer field at 7, 8, 9 years old, whenever I was in ballet, tap, you name it, gymnastics, he's like, you fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. One of the things my mom taught me was, I'm not going to save you. So if you get yourself into something, whether it's A, B, or C, good or bad, there are consequences to behavior. There's also challenges you're going to confront. I want you to figure it out. And from a very early age, I would ask her things like, let's just very remedial things like, hey, mom, can you spell that word? She's like, nope, go get a dictionary. Go figure it out. Go look it up because I want you to learn how to do this. I want you to learn how to do research. I want you to learn how to get back up. And sometimes my parents said, I'm not going to save you, and you're going to have to figure it out. And so I did. And that's part of what made me driven, right? Because fortunately, that was also survival, right? In a way. But we also learned the transition between survival and thriving. And what does that look like? What does that look like in regards to making that happen in a more healthy way as we grow, right?
Yeah.
And so, yes, I believe that we can have that balance between having those smarts and always learning, right? Continuing to learn, but also having that drive, that internal drive. But where are you going to get that? It's that own investment in self, right? And learning how to get up.
And nowadays, your parents are not the norm
No.
because two parents are working 2 jobs, trying to make it. It's a different world that way. That's what mentorship's all about. What you learn from your parents, now you could be the mentor to these kids, to these
Well,
entrepreneurs.
but here's the thing, too, Steve. With that said, I didn't come from a traditional background. Like
Yeah.
I came from a split family. My mom was a single mom. So she's like, hey, you're not going to get a yearbook, a prom dress for me. You're going to go and earn your money so you can buy those things for yourself. If you want to go to the prom, if you want a yearbook, if you want a class ring, if you want these things, go get them. Go get a job. And that's exactly what I did. Not only did I have my first job at 15, that was actually where a legal, legitimate job, but I worked doing cutting vegetables with my grandmother when I was 13, right? So I learned like the value of money. And she was doing some prep work for a restaurant. I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to cut vegetables and learn how to earn money here. My dad owned, markets and went over there to work for him when I was like 12, 13 and started stacking boxes and started doing these things to learn, what it meant to be an entrepreneur, how hard he had to work to do A, B, or C. My grandfather was an entrepreneur, and I got a model from him. He was a different type of entrepreneur, and he
Yeah.
was a millionaire, right? So it's like, how do you do these things? I had never been an entrepreneur myself, but I learned, I figured it out, and we do. We have missteps, but guess what? Those missteps are gained wisdom.
Yeah. I always say what you don't know, you don't know. And
Yeah.
you're taking that away. So I'm going to allow you to know. Taking action, that's your choice. That's the people that are mentored, they got to take the action. As a mentor, I've learned we can only mentor. We can't force people to do things. We could just give them the information. And that's what you're doing. That's a blessing. We're coming to the end here, but I don't want to miss the VA program because I think
Right.
it's powerful. You're super excited about it. So talk about that.
Yes. Okay, so real quickly, Core Business Solutions. So that's a new virtual assistant program that I've created. So if you need admin support, which many entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, businesses need, that's what I offer. Core Business Solutions, where they help with admin, they help with marketing, they help with program development, oversight of programs. They do so many things. They're phenomenal. And that's what we offer businesses. And that is really picking up. That business is really growing. So I'm really excited about that because I'm working with some young folks that are innovative, that know tech, that are excited to work, that are very excited to work. So yes, and I vetted them all.
Entrepreneurs don't wear all the hats. Let some
No.
of the hats fall in Summer's group. That's what they do. They take some of those hats away where you can focus on what you need to focus on. Whatever that may be for each entrepreneur, it's different. And go to their mentoring program that Summer has to see what your purpose is and what you should be doing, not doing. It all ties in together. That's why I love what you're doing. You're
Thank
the
you.
hub,
And
answers everything.
absolutely. And so you can go to corewomen.com. You can see the Core Business Solutions page. And also, we can work you through the program. So we give you a questionnaire first so we know what your needs are so that we have a better understanding of who to match you with. So, yes, we have
Sweet.
a process.
So let's do a little quick improv. Let's get out of
Yes.
business mind. So I've got a table at a restaurant reserved. Me and you're going to go eat.
Yeah.
I want you to invite 3 people who've been influential in your life, whether dead or alive, that
Okay.
we can sit down and talk to. But more importantly, what food would you order for the table for dinner?
What food? Okay. So 3 people and what food?
Correct.
Okay. I would invite my mom. I would invite my mom and I think my I would invite Michael Pritchard. So Michael Pritchard is amazing. I would also I think I would invite, God, there's so many people. And I would also invite Alfred Adler,
Oh, there you go.
and what I would, because I would love to know more about him in person. Um, and I would order, I think I would order a mixture of things because I am racially diverse. So I'm Filipino, Hispanic, Armenian, and European, right?
Jeez.
And so I think I would order something that might be Armenian, something that might be Filipino, something that might be Hispanic, and something that might be, I'm also German, something that might be German. So I think I might order a lot of different things for that diversity because I also really value diversity of mind, diversity of thought, diversity of the way that we do things together. So
It's
yes.
beautiful. You've been such a wonderful guest. I knew you would be. You're out there serving. You're the true servant's heart. I love what you're doing. I know people listening want to connect with you. Give the website, any ways they can connect, and the podcast.
Okay, so it's the Core Women Podcast, KORE Women Podcast, and you can find it on any podcast platform. My website is Core Women, KORE Women.com, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I love connecting with folks on LinkedIn. You can find me at Summer Watson, MHS, PhD. Did I cover that?
Perfect. You got
Okay.
everything. And if you can't get a hold of her, reach out to me. I'll get you connected. Don't worry. Summer, thanks again. And audience, this is a perfect podcast. I say this all the time. They're gifts. Subscribe to podcasts, whether it's mine. I'd love for you to subscribe to mine or Summer's, because when you listen to a podcast, I do this all the time. I send a link to somebody going, hey, you're trying to get a VA or you're trying to connect with more people. You need more mentoring. Hey, check out Summer. Listen to her for 10 or 15 minutes. Get a feel for it, and then maybe you reach out. Isn't that a gift? Because you made an impact on somebody. So let's continue doing that. Whatever resonates with you, go ahead and do that. With that being said, me and Summer want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.